on if I'm looking at it. Doesn't matter how long I hold it. All right. And we're on. Hey, hey, hey. Check, check, check. How's the cushion?
Nice.
Yeah? Good.
Yeah.
Good, good. Mm. Tulsi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Thank you for tuning in. And this is our final meditation of this month. Thank you for being a part of this month and joining in for another 12 yoga classes and 4 meditations. I'm super excited that those of you that have committed to the next journey of July, that we get to continue together. And if you're watching this live, then we have a Zoom call after this. If you're not watching this live, then I just want to say thank you for being a part of this and for all of your efforts, regardless, of where we all started off in this journey, wherever your level of yoga is, that we've all gone together along this path. And that is to become more awake, more aware of the mind and the body. And since we studied the compartments or the parts of the mind in this immersion, we're just going to, in this last meditation, let it be a little bit more loose, in that we're just simply going to go inward and allow the mind to rest through the practice of mantra. So not necessarily focusing on a particular part of the mind as we're going through, but to see if we can allow the mind to rest. Just let it relax. It loves to rest, but it just doesn't have the permission to rest, because it is constantly, as we know, receiving information from the outside world and trying to process. It's saying, what does this have to do with me? It's saying, what does this have to do with life? And it's constantly, which of this information do I store in the memory banks? So there's a constant process, and it feels a responsibility that it has to always be doing. So in this meditation, may we be moving towards a state of letting the mind rest. That doesn't mean avoiding the mind. It means giving it the encouragement that it can settle down. So what we can do is dive below the surface of it. So we can go beyond the levels of our physical reality, beyond the buddhi, beyond the part of us that comprehends separateness. And we can go into the oneness of universal consciousness itself. And then from that experience, we can journey back outward and bring that experience with us into our everyday life. And again, we were talking about the path to viveka, the path to compassionate living, from that place of ignorance, avidya, moving through to samadhi. And that's the state of the oneness of the universal consciousness. And from that oneness, coming back out into the world, living more compassionately from our bigger, broader view, from our opening of our perspective, and to be able to live in a world of duality and accept our karma, which is, again, what we talked about in this immersion, to be able to take on the challenges of our life's path, take on the challenges and do the actions that are required of us in order to work or walk our path, our dharma. All right, let's journey inward, shall we? Let's take a little sip of this old tea. It's probably too hot still.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. We got Tito over there, snuggled in, ready to meditate, already in it. He's deep in it. And Rebecca, my wife here, joining us today. Let's see, for today's pranayama, we'll stick with just a simple Dirga pranayama, just the 3-part breath of breathing down into the belly. So you can try that first with your hands on your belly. When you inhale, the belly should move out. And when you exhale, the belly should draw back. Okay, let's just try that a few times. Now, it doesn't have to be forceful in any direction, but you have to let the belly relax when you inhale. Okay, and then on the exhale, there should be a natural drawing inward. Then at the very base or the bottom of your exhale, when it completes, then you can draw the belly back to breath the rest of the breath out. Okay, there's usually more breath in there than we believe. And the second compartment of the 3-part breath is the rib cage. So you can place your hands on your ribs, and when you inhale, you try to widen the breath out to the sides. When you exhale, the ribs come back down. Okay, so the ribs flare out to the sides, giving space for the diaphragm to move outward, and then exhale. Okay, then the final 3rd part is the collarbones, the shoulders. So allow your shoulder blades and your shoulders and your collarbones to rise on the inhale, your chest to expand, and then exhale, the shoulders relax. So again, the 3rd part is that the collarbones lift, the shoulders do lift. Now, it's not like you're pulling them up, they're just rising as a result. And then on the exhale, they soften down. So now, with Dirga Pranayama, we want to move through all 3 compartments. So on the inhale, the belly expands, then the ribs expand, then the collarbones lift. Okay, I can't speak it through and do it at the same time, but it starts with an inhale, the belly goes. Keep inhaling, the ribs expand. Keep inhaling, the shoulders inflate and expand. And then exhale, the shoulders, the ribs deflate, the belly deflates. And then the last breath, last bit of exhale, you squeeze out by pulling the belly back. Then inhale, belly goes out. Continue with the ribs going out, and then continue with the shoulders rising as gentle, it's light. And then exhale, begins with the shoulders descending, the ribs drawing back inward, the belly coming back towards the spine, and then final. Okay, so that's Dirga Pranayama. And we'll do several rounds of that. I'll kick it off with you, and then of course I will just go silent and let you move on your own time. We want to try to elongate the inhales and elongate the exhales so that there is a certain amount of control over the breathing. And that's one of the gifts that we have, is that we can control our breath. Most of our system is uncontrolled, right? We can control our muscular system, and we can control our respiratory system. We can't control our digestive system directly. So we can't say, okay, now it's time to digest. The body reacts to what's been given to it. We can't stop digestion mid-track. We can't, there's so much within our amazing human form that we have no control of, but the breath is one of them. And what's magnificent about that is the breath can also be completely, can move completely on its own without our support. So it makes it kind of a unique part of who we are as humans. And I think that's largely why it's so powerful to pay attention to it, because if we're not paying attention to it, it still goes, which means we still have life. And if we are paying attention to it, there's a certain appreciation that can come over us that realizes, wow, there's breath inside of me giving me this energy of life. All right, let's begin. Find your seat, which, as always, means a position for which you can stay more or less upright for an elongated period of time. I don't have my watch on me, so let me just grab it. You do? Mm-hmm. Thank you. I don't. So find your seat, whether it's on a bolster or a block like mine, or several blankets or a chair. You want to get comfortable so that your body is not distracting you, thank you, from the journey of the mind, okay? If the body is distracting you and it's screaming at you, it's very hard to take a journey inward beyond it, right? Because the body's always going to be pulling you back out, pulling you back out. So we want to do the best we can. And that's why we practice asana. One of the reasons we practice asana is for that purpose, to be able to sit more comfortably for longer periods of time so that we have that sense of health. So if you found your seat, great. If not, grab a chair, something to sit upright. Let's close the eyes together. Take a full breath in and let it out. A couple more breaths just to become awake. Bring your attention down towards the thigh bones and let your thigh bones become heavy to the earth. The top of your pelvis and the backside. Tilt slightly forward and inward, initiating the arc of your low back. Follow the lumbar, the low back, upward and inward to create the gentle curve. A small, maybe 3% of your effort, keeping the arch of the back formed. And it travels upward toward the kidney band back there, where basically the end of your rib cage in the backside, where it meets the soft tissue in that region there. You can start to move backward and inflate the back of your kidney band and all the way up through the back of the heart. So there's like a rounding, an opposing curve to the upper back, where the low back is more of a back bend, an arch. The deepest part of the back bend is kind of right behind the upper belly button. And then it starts to move back outward. And the deepest part of your rounded upper back is more or less behind the back of your heart, more like the lower heart. And then as that upper back becomes more rounded and full, you'll start to feel that your shoulders and your head will protrude forward. So let's start with the shoulders by moving the hands slightly back. You can lift the shoulders up on the in-breath. And then just open the collarbones a little bit, widen them enough that your shoulder blades can rest down your back. And the chest is more broad and open, but still open in the backside. The backside of the heart is still full. Now let's move to the head. Just bring the ears back in line with the shoulders and the hips. The top of the skull rising upward, base of the pelvis drawing downward. So the two ends of the spectrum are moving apart from one another, giving your spine length. Now start to tune into the body as it breathes. Notice that your physical body is already breathing. And you can start the whisper through the nose, the ujjayi sound. And let's begin the Dirga Pranayama, which is a gentle, still with the gentle ujjayi sound through the whisper of the nose. But all we do is we start to elongate the breath. In particular, today the exhales will elongate, but we just want to make more space inside the physical body for the breath to move. So take a breath in. Exhale it out through the mouth for a moment. And as you inhale through the nose, first let the belly release. Then expand the ribs out to the sides. Then allow the collarbones to lift and the shoulders to rise gently. Keep the shoulders back, but exhale. The shoulders soften down the back. The rib cage softens and draws back downward, and the belly draws inward. And then at the last bit of breath, just pull the belly back to finish the breath. And begin the ujjayi inhale through the belly, drawing outward and expanding by relaxing it. The rib cage then starts to expand out to the sides. And then as the ribs expand, the collarbones rise. And then the shoulders and collarbones relax. The rib cage starts to soften. The belly starts to deflate. And at the end of the breath, you just pull the belly back a little bit to full exhale. And then again, it's the inhale through the nose, the belly expands, the ribs start to expand and inflate the upper chest, all the way up through the collarbones and shoulders, up through the skull even. Linger for a moment. Then exhale slowly, the shoulders relax down the back, the rib cage deflates, and the belly eventually draws back and towards the spine until all the breath is gone. Linger for a moment in that emptiness. And then the inhale through the nose, the ujjayi, the belly expands outward. When you run out of room, then the rib cage begins to expand out to the sides. When you run out of room there, the collarbones lift and you breathe in, and there's a moment of lingering at the top. And then we follow it with the exhale, the shoulders, the rib cage, the belly. Final exhale, belly comes back, linger. And then just a regular breath in and out. Take a moment to release from the breathing and see if you can tune into the sensational experience of being alive. What does it feel like to have energy inside of you? We'll do a second round of Dirga Pranayama, and this round I'm going to let you move on your own time without my voice. You have it now. Go ahead. Take a moment when you're done with the next round of breath to come back to the observation of your energetic body, pranamaya kosha. Observe the experience you've created. We do our third and final round of Dirga Pranayama, and again together slowing the breath down, not to the point where it feels too challenging, but just to the point where it's actually kind of calm, so a little less muscle effort. When you're ready, you can begin. And the next completion of Dirga Pranayama, you may let the breath come back to its normal state. And observe what you've created in your Pranamaya Kosha. Can you feel the energetic body pulsing with energy? And now we begin the journey through the mind, giving the mind permission to rest by using mantra. Mantra is the repetitive phrase, giving the mind something to anchor to so that it feels that it has permission to go inward. So we create the call to Shiva, transcendent void, the nothingness of all there is, which is the balance of Shakti, which is the fullness, the manifest world of all there is that we live in a daily life. So we call to that balanced state of emptiness in a good way. The void that balances the fullness. So Om Namah Shivaya is the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Say it out loud at first. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Now continue Om Namah Shivaya inward so you don't have to worry about your breath. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, let it go inward until the voice becomes completely quiet and all you have left is the Om Namah Shivaya at the center of your thoughts. Everything funneling into this one mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. Let it roll. Let your mind rock like a baby to sleep. Let the mind go into this mantra, into the nothingness, to the stillness. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Stay anchored in the mantra inward towards the nothingness, the stillness. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Now on the mind level, Manomaya Kosha, on the mind layer of our being, the mantra still continues. But now we ascend or go inward one more layer, and that is to experience the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the pureness of awareness itself. So observe now, Vijnanamaya Kosha is where the observer, the witness exists. Can you observe the mind reciting the mantra? Can you witness yourself sitting in meditation? Can you observe when your mind gets distracted? Can you observe when the mind goes back to the mantra? Observe and witness all that is happening now in the physical experience, but be above that or deeper than that in the state of aware, in that state of Shiva. And if you get sucked back into the mind, you just use the mantra to let the mind release so you can go beyond, so that you can rest into awareness itself. Rest into the awareness of all there is. Bring your attention back to your breath. Feel the physical sensations of your breath moving through your body to reconnect. Subtly start to awaken your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms. Create some heat between the palms. Palms over the eyes and take a breath in. Hands over the heart. Breathe into the warmth. Place the hands over the belly. Begin to awaken the legs by massaging. Make sure you get down to the calves and the feet, toes. Place the hands to the heart center. And we take this moment of gratitude that we've been able to connect with each other throughout this experience, that we've been able to share the practice of yoga, meditation, pranayama, study of the sutras, study of yoga itself, the mind. Thank you so very much for your dedication, for your efforts, for your courage, for your ability to keep walking, keep stepping amongst the challenges. We bow in honor of the heart that keeps beating. Namaste. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And if you're watching this live, then I will see you in the Zoom session. If you're not watching it live, hope to have you for the July immersion, which comes directly after this one. And that's it. It's been a lovely month. Thank you for sharing your practice with me and with everyone around the world that have been tuned in live and or otherwise. Everyone that was here and here in the future, for that matter. Thank you so much. Bye.